Hi, I'm Gwenem Carsley, transformational body, sex, and soul coach. Skin and Soul is not for the tame. It's for the parts of you that ache in silence, that pulse in the dark. It's where truth slips beneath the skin, where longing, death, and desire kiss. Strip down, breathe deeper. Remember what it means to be alive. Join me Fridays at Skin and Soul, 10 a.m. PST on Transformation Talk Radio.
Are you struggling with unresolved emotions or recurring patterns? Tune into Beyond Birth Trauma, From Burden to Brilliance with me, Shannon O'Flaherty, on Transformation Talk Radio. On the second Tuesday at 10 a.m. Pacific Time, we'll explore your own birth experiences and consider how they might be affecting your current life patterns to start your journey towards self-discovery and healing. For more information, visit Shannon B.
Welcome to Spark Faith with me, Dr. Chris Sargent. This show is about renewed health, rooted in truth, and restored by grace. What does finding health look like for you? Do you have a vision for your future self and a way to get there? I'm Dr. Chris, and after 33 years in functional medicine and a lifelong journey through brain health, weight loss, hormones, mindset, and faith, I know that real transformation doesn't come from willpower or white-knuckling your way to wellness. It comes from gratitude, honoring your body as the temple that God created. This show is about body stewardship, not shame. It's about rewiring your mindset, your metabolism, and your spirit to find lasting health without the grind. I'll help you cut through the noise, see opportunities instead of obstacles, and finally live the healthy, purposeful life you were created for. Let's spark faith and transformation together. Spark Faith starts now. Hey, y'all. Welcome back to the Spark Faith Spark Faith show and podcast. Yes, you can find it lots of places. I am Dr. Chris Sargent, and I am 3 weeks from my wedding. So yes, I'm a little crazy, but anyhow, today's topic is right on point for that, because if I don't eat, my kids will tell you that I am hangry, and I also know that I cannot concentrate and all the things. So today we actually are in a strength episode, right, for Fresh. And I wanted to take strength kind of into a different space. And we've hit on some of this a little bit, but I want to dive into this as maybe something a little bit different. And we've also been talking about food, right? The last few episodes of Fresh have been all about foundation of food, what food regulates, how food creates energy. And today we're going to talk about strength. So when I say the word strength, what is your own first, what's the first thing that pops into your head? Like, if you're visual, do you have some little picture that pops into your head or something like that? Like, is it the hulky guy that lives next door, goes to the gym? Is it the muscle head? Is that what comes into your mind? Is it about muscles, right? Or is it something more? Maybe resiliency, right? Maybe it's a personality trait. Oh, she's so strong. She handles stress well, like those kind of things. Or is it emotional capacity? Or have you even thought about strength being emotional capacity, like your bandwidth to handle different emotional things that are happening in your life right now? Or just the world, right? Like, it's a little crazy out there right now. So, and honestly, when I read the Bible, it was crazy then too. So crazy just goes along with culture and humanity. So anyhow, so as usual, I'm excited to explore a little different perspective today by discussing super fascinating physiology, which y'all know I'm kind of a little bit of a geek there, that's behind strength, but in all of those areas, right? Emotional, mental capacity, our, yes, muscular capacity. Um, is it really a personality trait? Is it something that you can build? So we're going to talk about strength from a lot of different perspectives today. And here's what I want to throw out there for you. What if physiology influences resilience more than you might realize? Like, what if that's true? Like, what if it's about your physiology? What if your ability to focus, make new muscle tissue? Yes. But what about regulate emotions, right? What if recovering from stress? What about emotional stability, right? What if these are influences by the signals you send your body with every single meal that you eat? And I always, y'all, this is not about shame or guilt. And if you ate a donut this morning, great. I hope it was wonderful and totally worth all the calories and the yumminess that goes along with that. So this is not about shame and guilt. Y'all know that I am not about white knuckling through things. I want to help you build your body in a way that it can withstand the stressors of life, whatever those might be. So last week we talked a little bit around the same thing and signaling, body signaling around energy. And so today I want to talk about, like I said, the strength in all the areas of your life, because food is doing way more than just giving you some calories, right? Food sends our body instructions. Food is information. And like you've heard me say this before, and if you haven't, you need to go back and listen because I say it often. But food can tell your body whether it's safe, like neuro, emotional safety, physiological safety. Is it safe or is it stressed? Are we going to build up our resilience and strength? Or are we going to conserve what we have because we're depleted? Right? That may sound like those aren't exactly opposite, but they really are, right? Are you going to build? Are you going to actually make something new? Or are you going to conserve and not build? Or are you going to recover from whatever stress it is, whether it was a hard workout at the gym, an emotional conversation with like one of your kids or your significant other? Are you going to recover from that? Or is your body going to go into this kind of limping mode and compensate for that stress because the stress just keeps hitting you? And here's the thing. I think that right, and many other women are unknowingly sending stress signals to your body all day long. I know I did for a long time. And I often wondered why I was so emotionally fragile. Like, why am I popping off when that was just such a small thing, right? Why am I a little anxious? Why do I get so overwhelmed, right? And for some of y'all, it's just actual exhaustion, and you may or may not want to admit it because that's a hard place for me to admit. So I don't know about y'all. But anyway, so I'm going to expand the conversation about food beyond weight and metabolism and talk about food as capacity, right? This is a well from which our body can draw if we are eating enough food and at the right times and all of those things. So if you've been listening for a while, you know that we think about food through some cloudy lenses like calories, weight, right? Am I burning and earning, right? Do I burn enough calories? Did I earn my food today? And I know that like that hits home for some of y'all. Am I dieting constantly, trying to lose fat, whatever that is for you? But physiologically, food acts as signaling, and it influences so many things. And again, hormones, inflammation, neurotransmitters, which we're going to get into today, blood sugar, stress chemistry. Your body is constantly interpreting those signals, and food is the biggest input that we have on a daily basis and something that we can control. And I know that those are things that there's not a lot in sometimes in our worlds that we can control, right? Can't control our kids really. We can't always control what happens out there in the big bad world, but food is one of those places where we can control it, even when we think we can't. I will give you that. There's ways that we can learn, right? But your body is always listening to those signals that you send. And here's the thing, a nutrient dense meal is not only going to communicate safety, it's also going to allow for repair, right? This is such a huge aha for so many people, but highly processed foods, erratic eating, excessive sugar, caffeine, chronic stress and underfueling can really communicate more stress in your body. It creates instability in your body and your physiology, right? And ultimately will create inflammation, which is at the seat of so many of our chronic diseases today. And so we're going to back this up. You know, I'm all about like, what is the root cause? That's my thing. Like, where is the bottom of this? Where can we plug in to get you healthier? And food is just such a huge foundation because it's something that we do all the time, right? We have to eat. We have to eat. As much as some of us are like, I don't want to think about food all day. That's another episode. But so let's talk about blood sugar and emotional strength. Okay. Anybody hangry? Anybody? Anybody? Right. I am definitely the queen of hangry. And my kids know, like, when I say I got to eat, I got to eat. Right. So here's how unstable blood sugar doesn't just affect your hunger, your cravings, your energy. It affects your mood. It affects anxiety, depression, patience. Anybody a little impatient or irritable today? It affects your emotional regulation, right? And it affects our clarity, our cognitive clarity. So when blood sugar rises rapidly and crashes, we all know, right? You've heard this said before, right? Cortisol increases, adrenaline increases, and the nervous system shifts into this stress response. And we may interpret that as anxiety and irritability and emotional fragility if we're really honest, right? We just get it, we get a little scratchy, right? Around the edges. And really, this is just amplified by this unstable physiology. So some of y'all may be thinking like, no, it's just really hard for me to regulate my emotions. I've always been that way. I don't always understand what that is. And so we have to tune in a little bit. And I don't want to dismiss anybody's emotions because we all have them. However, I want to take this again just a little bit deeper and get under it. Like, when you feel like that, what if you were thinking about like, when was the last time I ate? And what did I eat today? What have I eaten today? Has it been just a load of carbs or on the run? What are you digesting or not digesting, right? What's going in, what's not going in? Because here's the thing, stable meals, as hard as it can be, it really doesn't have to be. And we've talked about that too. So you can go back and look at those episodes or listen to those episodes, but is going to create a much steadier nervous system signaling so that you have more consistent energy and you will have better emotional regulation and resilience. So I just want you to understand that how we eat affects all the bits and pieces. It's not just about like, okay, eat more protein, get a better bicep, right? It's also eat more protein, have stable blood sugar, have better emotional regulation, have better mental clarity and cognition, and not be fumbling for words. So let's talk about food, inflammation, and brain capacity. There's a ton of research around this right now. So Food affects our inflammation, and inflammation is not just about joint pain or digestive rumblings and that kind of stuff, but it affects the brain. And this is a really near and dear to my heart. I lost my mom to dementia and Alzheimer's, and my dad is going through that now. This is not a place. Sorry. This is not a place that I want to land when I'm 90, right? I want to make sure that my brain stays healthy as best as possible, right? But here's the other thing. Research, tons of research actually increasingly links highly processed foods with added sugar to increased depression and depressive symptoms, right? Increased anxiety. We got both sides, right? Depression and anxiety, and poorer cognitive health, because your brain is going to be built from whatever ingredients you put in. And I've said this about your body too, right? If you're going to put in highly processed food, you're going to get a highly processed body. You're not going to get the body that is going to run on the jet fuel that it needs from clean actual food. And so your brain really requires a lot of nutrients, and neurotransmitters are the chemicals in your brain, the molecules in your brain that allow your brain cells to talk to one another and then to talk to the rest of your body. So protein is, I know I talk a lot about protein, but it is the basis for dopamine. We hear a lot about dopamine right now, right? Like this is your feel good for the moment kind of thing. Serotonin is your feel good for a while, right? Norepinephrine, also a good base for feeling well and being able to have good cognition and stable emotions. Omega-3, like your fish oil, good fish oil, not a bunch of junk fish oil, but EPA and DHA, you can look on the bottle, is good for brain cell membranes. Like we all have membranes around our cells, and those membranes are made up of omega-3 fats and cholesterol. We have to have those things. It improves our nervous system signaling, right? Back and forth communication. It also affects our mood regulation, right? So it can stabilize your moods. And then micronutrients improve mitochondrial function. I talked a lot about that in my mitochondrial episode. Stress adaptation, that is also B complex vitamins, B12, folate, all the Bs, not just one or two, all of them together have to work for energy and stress adaptation. And then our recovery systems, right? We're going to talk about strength in just a second, but some of y'all, and I did for a while, right? Like some of y'all are trying to create more focus and motivation and patience and resilience with all of these external things when we really need to be fueling our body from the inside out. So you're trying to create all this focus and all these things while you're under supporting the biology and the physiology required to build them. So recovery is really a strength strategy. And I remember my coach telling me, like, no, this is not just a post-workout meal. This is your recovery meal. So you go to the gym and maybe you're fasting in the morning and you're going to go to try to work out. Where is your body going to get the energy that it needs to do that workout? You think it's going to come off of your fat, but actually you break down muscle tissue first. It's not going to help you. Right? You have to put some carbohydrates in order for your body to have the glucose it needs to pull those weights in the morning. So there has to be a good pre-workout. Your post-workout needs to fill the tank because you've emptied your bucket. You've emptied the tank. You're trying to run your car on empty, and we need to refill that tank. That's not going to add fat. That's just refueling. And we can't build strength on constant depletion. It's not going to work. Just you can't bake a cake without flour and eggs and sugar and all the yummy things, right? A traditional cake. So strength is built through challenge, right, at the gym. But then you have to nourish your body, you have to recover, and then your body can adapt. I know that the messages that you get all over, right? Culture, whatever. We all celebrate exhaustion. I only need so much sleep and I'm going to push harder and sleep less. I'll sleep when I'm dead, right? We drink more coffee to get more stuff done and we think that that's going to help us, but your body just is trying to compensate for what you're doing. And long-term resilience can't really be built out of chronic depletion. So your body can't create capacity without the raw materials, right? Food is part of recovery. So that's where you like shift that mindset of calories and earn and burn into, oh, I need to fuel and recover, right? This is not reward. This is not punishment. This is recovery. And it's recovery across the board, right? Emotional, mental, physical, spiritual, all the pieces. So nervous system is constantly asking like, am I safe enough to thrive? But nutrition influences that answer. And chronic blood sugar swings and nutrient depletion, excessive processed foods, you already, right? You already know the answer. And stable nourishment is going to definitely calm your nervous system. I know it's being talked about a ton right now of calming your nervous system signaling, right? Better sleep. Who doesn't want better sleep? You have to eat to get better sleep. More emotional steadiness. We don't have to be like frantic all the time and overwhelmed and anxious all the time, and improve recovery. And a lot of my clients have said, wow, I didn't realize like how much calmer I feel all day long. I didn't realize that my moods were all over the place until I started eating the way that you have said to eat, right? My anxiety is basically gone and I can focus for hours. So just by stabilizing our nutrition and improving the quality of our food, we can get better focus, better reduce anxiety, less depression from the blood sugar swings and all of that. This is not magic, right? Food isn't magic because this is just physiology coming to life in our symptoms. So, I'm going to pull in a little faith, right? 2 Timothy 1:7 says, God gave us a spirit, not of fear, but of power. And sometimes we spiritualize what might be partially physiological, right? We're fearful, but is it fear or is it anxiety? Because our body really needs rest. It needs nourishment. It needs recovery. It needs support, right? This isn't weakness. Your body isn't broken, right? This is by design. That we are built for power, his power, to flow through us easily. And stewardship means really recognizing that the body requires inputs to sustain the work we've been called to do. So food is so much more than fuel. It influences our resilience, right? This is resilience when we are fueled well, when we can eat without guilt and shame around our food, when we can say to ourselves, oh, this is recovery. I need to rest and recover because I just worked out really hard and I fueled well before, right? This is emotional steadiness. You don't want to pop off at your kids and your spouse and everybody around you when you don't really need to, right? Nobody likes to feel like that. Like 5 minutes later, you're like, oh, what did I just say? Why did I say that? What about brain function? I know brain fog is huge, particularly peri and postmenopausal, like, oh, I can't even think straight. Right. And then it feels overwhelming. And then you get anxious about all that, right? So what if you put in the right fuel that your brain needs to make the neurotransmitters, to make the proper hormones that your body is still making, even though we're told that we make none of these things? We can make some of them. So what if your fuel just needs to be a little bit more specific and have that mindset shift that allows you to fuel and recover versus, oh, earn and burn, right? So this is what's going to be able to create capacity for you. You will have the capacity, you will have fuel in your tank, in your emotional tank, in your physical tank, in all the tanks that we need when we're eating and giving our body the food that it requires to do all the things that we're called to do, right? And so the goal, again, it's not about being smaller, right? Even Brene Brown is like, don't shrink. Don't puff up, but don't shrink, right? We want to be strong and resilient. So it's not about eating less, controlling your weight, or trying harder, right? Maybe the goal is just learning how to support your body well enough that it can actually build strength and resilience. Strength is not just muscles, right? It is physical, yes, absolutely. It is emotional, it is cognitive, and it is spiritual capacity for life. I love you guys. Hit like, hit subscribe, send these to your friends, please. Leave some comments. I'd love to hear what you have to say and think. Just bringing you renewed health, rooted in truth, and restored by grace. Love you guys. Bye-bye. You've been listening to Spark Faith with me, Dr. Chris Sargent. This show is about renewed health, rooted in truth, and restored by grace. Tune in every Thursday morning at 9:30 a.m. Pacific on the Transformation Talk Radio for more simple, faith-fueled steps to live the vision God placed in your heart. Are you ready to take the next step? Schedule a discovery call or connect with me at drchrissargent.com. That's DRKRIS Sargent.com. While you're there, download my free ebook, Endless Energy, the 6 non-negotiable keys to endless energy, and sign up for an upcoming masterclass. Don't forget to subscribe, like, share the show, and I'd love to connect with you on social media at Dr. Chris Sargent. Let's keep sparking faith and transformation together. Can't wait to see y'all next time.